folks, the Filipina P here. And I get a fair amount of emails and questions from guys who are having relationship issues with their Filipinas. Some of them are hilarious, some are heartbreaking, and some of them make me want to pull my hair out because you'd already know what to do if you've been watching my videos. Most of these situations happen because of cultural differences. Filipinas don't act the same way Western women do, and you guys don't act the same way that local men do. So there are bound to be issues. Well, today, I'm gonna read some of the questions I get, along with my advice. And don't worry, I changed the names of the people who wrote me. So if one of the emails I'm about to read is yours, no one will know how hopelessly lost you really are. Okay, the first one is from Dan B. from Devonport, Australia. Dan says, I've only been in the Philippines a few weeks, but I've already come across several women who literally walked up to me and asked if I'd give them a baby. This just seems outrageous. Is it some kind of scam? Are they trying to get child support? Well then, while you'd technically be responsible for child support if she knew your name and how to get a hold of you. This is not usually the case though. Women really do approach foreigners for babies simply because they want a mixed baby. I know it sounds crazy and irresponsible and a whole lot of other things, but I'm here to tell you the truth. And the fact of the matter is, yes, it does happen. Maybe you're just really good looking, so next time, send a photo so I can judge for myself. The thing I'd like to know is how you handled it. And I wish I'd been there to film your reaction. Talk about a viral video. All right, so next is from Taylor F. from Ottawa, Canada. I recently met my girlfriend and another young Filipino couple at a local pub to have a few drinks. When it came time to pay, there was an awkward moment of silence as everyone looked to me to pay the bill. This is not the first time this has happened, and in fact, wherever I go, people assume I'm financing their activities. Why does everyone look at me like I'm supposed to pay for everything, especially when I didn't even invite these people? Okay, Taylor, welcome to the Philippines. But it's not just because you're a foreigner. It's because the richest person is expected to take care of the bill, and we perceive foreigners as being rich, which is very wrong in my opinion. So they all look at you when the check comes. If foreigners had the reputation of being poor, they wouldn't be expected to pay for everyone. You might think it's another form of skin tax, but it's more of a wealth tax. You'd be treated the same way if you were a rich Filipino or a pink elephant, which is just as rare. But to avoid a nasty situation, pay for it the first time if it's not really a huge amount. And then inform your Filipina that although you might be in her country, that's still your wallet and you're the one that decides what comes out of it. If it happens again after you've had that conversation, just put the money for your share on the table, get up, and walk away. That puts the responsibility on your Filipina instead of on you. And if she wants to avoid future embarrassment, she'll explain things to her friends in advance. Next, we have Ian G. from Aberdeen, Scotland. So he said, when I'm with my Filipina and her friends, I feel uncomfortable and left out because even though I know they all speak English, about halfway through the conversation, they switch to Bisaya and I'm suddenly excluded. Is there a polite way to let them know this bothers me? I've mentioned it to my girlfriend, but it keeps happening anyway. Okay, Ian. There's a lot of reasons why this happens. Sometimes Filipinos are embarrassed to speak English because they don't think theirs is good enough. Sometimes it's hard for us to translate everything in our heads before we say it. And when we're talking to our friends, we just get carried away and revert to our local dialect. I do that too, actually. Sometimes it's just that we don't want you to know what we're talking about, especially if we're talking a little chismis. And if you speak with a thick Scottish brogue, we probably don't understand what you're talking about either, even when we're all speaking the same language. But there is a good way to handle the problem. And when they start speaking their local dialect, just say EOP. Every Filipino knows what that means. English only, please. You don't have to worry about being culturally insensitive because every Filipino has had a situation where they're asked to speak English. Our teachers even tell us to do that in school. Just say EOP and explain that you want to be part of the conversation. They'll be flattered that you're interested in what they have to say. And here's the really important part. Ayoko pag sinamo ka, kay busy ako, damo tak ginihimo, masamo ka man. Oops. Sorry, Ian. I did it to you too. See how easy it is to get confused? Alright, here's another one from Nicholas T. from Lubbock, Texas. Oh, I love Texans, especially their barbecue. I tried cooking it, but I'm not sure if I got it correct. I mean, the taste. Anyway, here's his message. Why does it seem like Filipinas who date foreigners dress so differently? Every time I see a Filipina who's with a foreigner, she's dressed in a tight skirt with a lot of bare skin, even when the guy is wearing faded shorts and a tank top. I thought Filipinas were supposed to be conservative, but they dress as provocatively as Western women. Well, first let me say that not all Filipinos dress to the nines when they're with a foreigner. I just notice the ones who do. I bet if you purposely look at every couple that passes by, you'll see a lot of Filipinas in regular clothing. I do know what you mean though. I've seen it millions of times. And I can usually tell if they're dating a foreigner by what they're wearing. Sometimes I'll see a woman out shopping in the mall and she'll be dressed in a super tight skirt with a lot of makeup and jewelry. And I just know that she's got a foreigner somewhere around. Sure enough, I'll see her again 10 minutes later holding hands with a Western guy. And I've known women personally that started dating a foreigner and within a week, they've got a whole new look, including their hair. But your question was, why do they do it? And it's for 3 different reasons. The first reason is that we think it's what Western guys like. Filipinos normally don't wear much, if any, makeup. We do wear skirts and dresses, but they're not usually very revealing. But we watch a good bit of Western media, and we see the kinds of women we think you idolize. Now I've heard you guys say, hey, we didn't come to the other side of the planet for more of the same thing we left behind. But I'm just telling you why some Filipinos do it. Another reason is that we want to discourage other Filipinas from trying to poach on our territory. It's our way of saying, we look really good, so you don't have a chance with this guy. And of course, we want to keep your eyes fixated on us, not the poacher. And for some of us, the third reason is because we like to dress that way, and being with someone that actually appreciates it can be liberating. Dating a Western man that won't have a jealousy fit like a local guy is kind of nice for a change. So the next time you see a Filipina looking like she's going to a nightclub with a guy who looks like he just got off the beach, at least now you'll know why. Next we have Benjamin J. from Tallahassee, Florida. Ben writes, my girlfriend and I live in Bohol, and I'm having a problem with her not being honest. She lies about the dumbest things, but it still really bothers me. The other day, she said she was going to work, but I found out she spent the day at her mom's house, just hanging out. She could have just told me and I wouldn't have cared. I know it's not the end of the world, but this isn't the first time stuff like this has happened. And if she's dishonest with the trivial things, it makes me wonder what else she's lying about. Why won't she ever admit when she's wrong, even when I show her the evidence? Should I be concerned? Well, it might sound like a personality flaw and a big red flag, but in this situation, it's probably another cultural thing. Please, listen carefully, because you'll see this again and again. In many Asian cultures, it doesn't matter what the reality is, it only matters what it looks like it is. As long as we don't admit to anything, we can maintain our innocence. The faster you guys accept this cultural fact, the better you can predict how Filipinos are gonna react when we get caught in a fib. In Western culture, you're supposed to admit when you did something wrong and you own up to it. But here, It's all about not looking like you did anything wrong and covering up mistakes and deceptions while sticking to your story. But there's a big difference between lying about things that make her look bad, like skipping work, and lying about texting an ex-boyfriend. Is she trying to protect herself from embarrassment? Or is she trying to deceive you to cover up really bad behavior? If it's the first one, my advice is to forgive the little things, especially in the beginning of your relationship, because you're fighting a lifetime of cultural conditioning. And if you have knockdown, drag out fights every time she won't confess to drinking your last soda, it's gonna be really hard for her to open up about anything. Explain that you need complete honesty from her, but give her a little while to realize you won't leave her because she's not perfect. Just let her know that you love her completely, faults and all, even when she needs to call in sick and spend a lazy day with her mom. And the last question comes from Louis V. from Durham, England. All right, so he said, I've been in a long-distance relationship with a woman from Manila for the last year and a half, and we recently got engaged. Congratulations! All this time, her relationship status on Facebook has remained single, and when I ask her about it, she says it's because she doesn't want her friends to be jealous. Now that we're engaged, I expect her to want to share the good news, but she still hasn't changed her status, and she gets really angry with me when I bring it up. Is this normal? Yes, Louis. This is fairly common behavior for a woman with something to hide. Your average Filipina wants to tell the whole world when she's got a new boyfriend, especially a foreign one, because you guys are actually status symbols, and everything's about status here. I'm sure you've noticed how quickly we try to get you into our relationship, so why would we try to deny that we're in one? I'm afraid you're not gonna like this, but she's probably already got a husband or a boyfriend or 10 boyfriends. If you've been sending her money and if you've been chatting for over a year, I bet you have sent her some. Just think how much she's making if she has several more guys like you out there. The situation with the virus has made it really easy for women to become involved with a lot of men at once without having to worry about getting caught. But now that the borders are opening, it's all gonna come crashing down. Just make sure you're not buried underneath the rubble. If I were you, I'd tell her that you're not so sure about where you stand with her. And until that changes, keep your wallet closed and your options open. There are plenty of Filipinas that would just love to change their status for ya. Believe it. Well, that's it for today. And I hope you guys keep those questions coming so the rest of us can see what's really going on in the mind of the Filipina. I'll be back on Friday with a familiar guest that you all know and love, Attorney Gracie. Till then, folks. If you think about it, I'm kind of like Princess Leia. Even though I'm Asian and live in a galaxy far, far away, I have important information that needs to get delivered into the right hands. I'm your diplomat that can be a bridge between different cultures and help us understand each other to avoid conflict and smooth relations. All I ask for my effort is that you give a thumbs up on this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell. So don't be a scruffy looking nerf herder. Help a princess out. Oh, not again. Yeah, keep your shirt on. In fact, put your shirt on. You look disgusting.